Have you ever had to fire anybody?
Oh man. Yes. Several times, but the one time that it hit me was the first time I did it. I was actually a lead man, and the foreman brought me over and he said, "Hey man, we're kind of slow, and we're gonna have to get rid of some people that we don't want to get rid of. And this is a hard thing that we have to do, but it's something that you have to learn how to do." He goes, "And here's the first person on the list." And the first person was on the list was
That is Mr. Gabriel Garcia, who works for Marek Brothers here in San Antonio, Texas. He is the Build Competition Rockstar for the Texas Construction Careers Initiative. Came up through the trades and now very focused on workforce development. In this conversation, we talk about some of the little tricks and techniques that he and his organization have developed to engage high school students. And by the way, they are like totally killing it when it comes to high school engagement, recruiting, and having that pipeline coming up from high school into the organization and through the org chart of the organization. And Gabriel is a success story of that system. You may hear a reference to Stacy Gunderson, whom we had interviewed here on the Learnings and Missteps podcast way back at the beginning. She saw the talent in Gabriel and poured into him and helped him develop into the leader that he is now. This is a short one, and I don't want to be in your way from learning about my buddy Gabriel, who may be going on tour with Slash at some point. So here we go. Son of a gun, I almost forgot to give a shout out to all our patrons out there that have been contributing to the effort. And no, though it would be amazing that we had so many folks lined up and contributing to the L&M podcast that I could retire off of it. We're not quite there yet, but every bit of encouragement, every dollar, every like, every share is deeply appreciated because you're going to continue helping us enhancing the image of careers in the trades. And so if you're interested in being a patron, go to learningsandmissteps.com. Look for the button, become a member, do the thing. If not, just share the episode with somebody else. We got some really great guests here, and I'm pretty sure they can enlighten somebody you care about.
What's going on, L&M family? Jesse here, and I got my good friend, Mr. Gabe Garcia, who is like a mastermind craft developer, craftsman, field leader, all of the above. Gabe, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. Just got off of work and ready to enjoy my evening.
We record on Saturday, so we're recording on Tuesday. So L&M family, y'all know, construction professionals, to be able to jump on a call at 5:00 in the afternoon during the week is a significant commitment. And Gabe, not only did Gabe follow through on his commitment, he also just came back from vacation. How tell us about the vacation, and then tell us about how little work you had to do once you got back in.
Oh, vacation was fun. I went to Vegas with my sisters. Went to the Grand Canyon. I mean, nice. Predominantly we went to Viva Las Vegas, which is a car show. My sisters is really into like 50s rockabilly music, and I dabbled in that music and that lifestyle. So we went to go and enjoy that for a couple of days. On the way back, I mean, it was full force, bringing in schools into Marek, which is a drywall company that I work for, and out there, sharing the importance of construction and what great career paths they have. So yeah, nonstop since I got back.
I bet you had a whole bunch of emails piled up just waiting for you.
Oh yeah, it was like over like 50 in the course of like 3 days.
You said something about being in an interest or dabbling in rockabilly. Do you play an instrument? Or are you like a lead singer? What's up with that? That's news to me. I didn't know that, bro.
Yes, I'm a guitar player. I've been playing since I was 14. I know you've had Stacy on the podcast before. Our first introduction was her coming up to me to enroll in this development program that the company was offering to young employees. And my first answer to her was like, yeah, I'll join your program, but I ain't saying because I'm going to be a famous musician one day.
Nice. So guitar it's an important part of your life.
Absolutely, it is.
All right, bro. Well, I'm going to tell you a little kind of shameful secret that I've had. I want to learn. You probably heard this a bunch of times. I want to learn how to play the guitar. I have an acoustic guitar at the house that's collecting dust. It does, and it's good for like towels and hoodies. Like I can hang them on there. But I'm fixing to go buy me an electric guitar and an amp. Do you have any recommendations for a rookie wannabe starting off on the guitar life?
I would start off with Ibanez. Definitely can't go wrong with Ibanez. Honestly, any guitar over $300 or $400 will be a decent guitar to get started with. Anything lower than that, you're getting for what you're paying for, right? It's not the best. And amps, I mean, I just do my research. I mean, there's so many amps that do so many different things. And I mean, what kind of music do you like? What do you like to listen to?
I like blues, bro. I like blues. And then after that, I like 50s, like the 50s rock and roll, oldies, like that style. But I don't know that I want to learn how to play that style. What I really want to learn how to play is blues.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like Roland has kind of a very, not Roland, excuse me, Randall has like a very like flat tone, so you can kind of you can make it your own. I mean, a lot of that stuff you can make it your own with pedals.
Okay.
But yeah, whether you're investing on an amp or on a guitar, anything over $300 or $400, you can't go wrong for a beginner.
10 for, so I might have to put it on layaway because that ain't cheap.
The guitar I have back here cost me $1,200.
Damn, that's serious. Son of a gun. So you are gonna be a famous musician.
Nah, maybe like 10 years ago.
That's awesome, man. And so you mentioned that you had high schools coming in, like were they coming into the office, coming into the shop? Can you give us some details about that?
Yeah, so a couple years back, the San Antonio has this event called Job Shadow Day, where they invite schools to go visit construction companies, and they kind of go through the ins and outs of what each trade does. When we were developing what ours would look like, we decided to kind of go through all the parameters that we do, as in how do we get a job, the estimating, the relationship between the project manager and the foremans, the technology with the lead men's. That's very fun. The kids like that stuff when we use the technology. And then we have a build. So we show them the importance of safety, and we go out there and build a couple walls, and the thing that goes off without a hitch, and I know you've seen it before, it's the screwing competition. Oh man, those kids love that.
Yeah, man, I got to see it. What was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago at the TCCI Construction Career Day? How was that experience for you? Because L&M family, y'all need to know, Gabe stepped up first time, led the build competition, which was not an easy task to do. How did that go for you, man? Coordinating it and then actually finally seeing it happen.
Well, I'm going to answer that in reverse. It was an awesome experience. It was the best once we handled everything. Honestly, I really love the team that we had, because without the whole team working together to get that going, it could have gone bad pretty quick. It was a very windy day. We were outside. We had material flying everywhere, ladders falling. It was, and for my first time, it was definitely a little bit overwhelming. But we pulled it off. I was very impressed by how much knowledge these high school kids had in building. I mean, I was blown away. It was a sight to see, and I'm glad that I was part of coordinating that for all of us for the event.
Yeah, man. You ain't kidding. The way the team just came together and filled the gaps, and that cart of sheetrock fell over and broke. And hey, we need 3 more sheets. Hey, Sean, we need 3 more sheets. It was just boom, boom, boom. Things just kind of kept clicking. it was amazing, but leading up to it was a little stressful for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think for all of us.
Yeah. No, we had an amazing team. We still got to have the happy hour debrief. I think I'm going to schedule it for next week, so we can capture lessons learned, relax a little bit, celebrate the accomplishment, and plan for 5,000 students next year. What do you think?
I'm ready. I'm definitely looking forward for that celebrating because I need that. Even though I just came from vacation, I still need to celebrate that TCCI.
Hell yeah, man. We'll do it. We're going to make it happen next week for sure. Awesome, bro. So you brought, and at the event, the Construction Career Day, I got to see it's a hands-on thing, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to try to describe it to our folks out there. You've created like a mock-up steel stud frame, and put sheetrock on it. And the students, the competition is they got to drive 5 screws in and hit the stud, and whoever does it fastest wins.
Correct.
Pretty simple.
That's it. But so as drywallers, at least in San Antonio, I know other places and other companies use different tools. The rolling of screws has kind of for lack of a better term, an ancient art form. So we have the kids hold the screws in their hand, and they have to roll the screws as fast as they can, load it onto the screw gun, and be able to drive it into the drywall. 5 screws first wins. And it's fun. If there was a station that was the loudest, it was definitely our station.
Yes, I got a lot of video of it. I still need to dive in and put out a bunch of content from that. And y'all also had so first, before I move to that, like, it was easy to get content from there because there was just a gang of kids bunched up around it. I'm like, man, did somebody fall on the floor? I go check it, like, oh no, they're waiting in line and cheering each other on and talking smack. I'm like, and it's so simple, but super, super engaging. Who gets the credit for that activity?
I don't know. I couldn't say. I mean, I've been doing these events with Stacy since I was probably like 21 or 22. And it's been an evolving thing. People throwing out ideas and trying to see what works. And when we first saw that this was something that the kids love, we were like, this is gold. We got to keep doing it, and we're going to do it every year. And it's been great.
Heck yeah, man. I loved it. And then y'all had a competition putting on a safety harness.
Yeah, the body harness. Yeah,
the body harness. Like, I was waiting for some of the volunteers to jump in there, but I don't think everybody was too scared of that. I didn't get any video of that either. I kind of regret that, but it was comical watching people get all tangled up and twisted. And it's like, man, like, it's super simple, but it engaged the kids. It created an audience around your booth. And then you had, like, can you describe the group of individuals that were representing Marek Brothers at the booth, engaging with these high school students?
I mean, we've been hitting recruiting for the past maybe 2 years really hard, and I've been able to have some success with high school students. And who better to recruit other high school students than someone who just graduated from high school? So they're on the same level as these other guys and girls, and they probably spoke a different language that I couldn't, and they spoke it really well, and they were able to engage and get them to come out of their shell probably better than I could. Pablo, who's he's a little bit older, but he has this patience and this way of talking that just is so brings this tranquility over everyone, and he's really good with talking to the younger generation. I even though I'm not old, but I'm not young. I came up through the old school. I can be a little aggressive sometimes, and having somebody like Pablo out there to help even me out kind of definitely helps for the booth for sure.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Y'all, I saw that. I was like, are those students or are those employees? And I'm like, oh, hell no, they're young employees. And then I'm like, I asked Stacy, she's like, oh yeah, you just graduated. And they went to that high school. Like, genius. And that's like we'll just say it. That's a genius investment because it was during the day. So the guys were on the clock, right? They're getting paid, but you're leveraging the relationships and that direct connection, the closest connection to these high school students to reinforce your workforce development. Like nobody else is doing that. Yeah. y'all, I'm like, son of a gun, TD Industries are right behind y'all. And I used to work there. And I'm like, man, y'all need to catch up. Y'all need to go watch what they're doing and bring some of them interns or them young apprentices back to engage with the students. Genius. Like y'all got it going on over there, man. It's exciting to see that. And then now to hear you go back to to work right now, it's not this big festival anymore. And y'all are still engaging and investing in those young minds and exposing them to careers in the industry. What's the response or what's the interaction like when the students come visit your business during the school day?
I mean, they get a field trip, right? So they're probably in a better state of mind whether if we went to their schools, which we do also. But honestly, there's not a lot of companies. When I talk to the teacher, we had Southwest today going to Marek. And I asked him, well, who goes out there and talks to the students about, job opportunities? And he says, Marek and Hope. And that's it. There's nobody going out there. So I think these kids are very, I don't want to say grateful. I don't know if that's the right term, but they like the fact that someone's going out there and trying to reach to them, trying to give them a career versus just another job, which is something that we really focus on and we preach to all these kids. It's like, this is a career and you can take it as far as you want to go. I mean, if you're a salesman and you're good with math, you can be an estimator and a project manager. If you can manage people, you can be a foreman. If you love technology and deciphering and puzzles is your thing, you can be a leadman and lay out buildings. I mean, there's a spot for everyone, and we try to do that and show that to all these kids that you can make a lot of money and in any part of any trade, whether you're the foreman, lead man, even as a worker. If you just like building things and putting things together and you're good at it, any company will pay you top dollar to do that.
Yeah, 100%. And so little challenge out there to all the employers that are complaining and whining about the gap, right? We don't have enough people getting in the trades. Here's the challenge. Are you doing any of the things that Gabriel just described? When is the last time you went to a high school campus and engaged with high school students about the careers that your organization can offer? Let's see what you got, baby. Bring it. Hit us. Leave some comments. If I made you mad, good. Let me know and share your secret sauce because, I mean, it's true. There is a shortage. And I think everybody's dealing with the pain. Rather, everybody's experiencing the pain. And they don't want it. They don't want to hurt anymore, but they're just not sure what to do. So you guys sharing your methods and other people sharing their methods, like we just spread that around and we can turn the ship. Because like you said, bro, there are tons of amazing career opportunities in the industry. And so now you're like the workforce development guru. Is that the El Mero Mero, the workforce development? That's your title?
I mean, developing the workforce, managing it, making sure that no one stays stagnant. Anybody who wants to have learn how to read blueprints or just, learn how to manage soft skills, that I am the guy who does all that.
That's amazing, bro. That is amazing. So here's the question. You're big dog now, right? Making big impact on people's lives. And we already know you were going to be up there playing side by side with Slash. That's still in the cards, right? What were your earliest career aspirations?
So when I first started with Marek, it was really just Marek was a side gig for what I really wanted to do. And the thing that was great about Marek was that Marek gave me the ability to go and go still do my thing, go play music. And, you know, there's some guys that had family in Mexico and they would go to Mexico for a couple of weeks or for a month. And if they were great employees, Marek were like, go do your thing, come back, come work for us. And they allowed me to do the same thing. So to me, I never saw myself as running work or nothing like that, but I just like the ability that I had a good job that paid me well, and I can still follow my dream. And Marek, you know, gave me the freedom to do that, and I was like, I'm not leaving. You know, if I'm gonna just be a carpenter for the rest of my life, I'm okay with that. As you know, people started seeing that I had some snap and I was willing to take on more responsibilities. They just started throwing more responsibilities. By the time I was 24, they gave me the responsibility of being a foreman and run work, which was a little bit overwhelming. I still think I wasn't ready, but I took it on full force. And after that, everything started to switch where, you know, music started to become more of a hobby, and working for Marek was what I wanted to dedicate my time to. And it was kind of hard to let go of what I wanted to do, my dream, but it was good that I had the fallback from a good company who took care of me, you know, for, I think at the time it was like 5-6 years. So I started with Marek at 19. So my aspirations were to all the energy that I had put into music to do it with Marek. So I wanted to be the top. I wanted to one day maybe be a superintendent or whatever.
Yeah. And you've done that. I mean,
Yes.
you started off as an apprentice, maybe a laborer, apprentice, lead man, foreman, superintendent, and now el mero el pinche workforce development.
Right. Well, I haven't hit the superintendent. That's my next bucket list. Maybe
Okay.
soon I'll be able to hit that. But yeah, I've been moving up, and all the youngins say that they want my job. I'm like, good, come take my job so I can take someone else's job.
Yeah, that's what it's about, baby. So you mentioned the foreman role that you felt like you got into the foreman role before you were ready. And you've made several significant steps, significant jumps in your career. Are you ever really ready?
That's a hard question to answer. I don't know. I mean, part of me wants to say yes. You know, after every job you get more experience, but every job also brings something new. So I guess no. I mean, it's a little bit of both. I know that I had support. Whether there was something that I didn't understand, the superintendents always came by and asked me, "Do you need any help? Do you understand this? You know what's going on?" So whether I was ready or not, they were there as they were my backbone for sure.
Beautifully said. I just had a conversation with he used to be the co-host, Renee, my brother. Now he's like the celebrity cameo guy because he shows up every once in a while. But we have this conversation a lot about, are you ready? And it's like, man, if I waited until I was ready, I would never have taken so many steps in my life. But what helped me through the gaps in experience that I didn't have was the resources and the relationships that I had. Right. And that's what you just talked about, is you hit up a superintendent. What do you need? They're going to help you out. They can give you what you need. And I think that's an important lesson for a lot of people out there. Like, you may never be ready. Now, on the other side, there's a lot of people that everybody knows they ain't ready, but damn it, they're going to be the CEO next week. And that's also a problem. You get to deal with that at all, Gabe?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of people who feel that they should be in this spot and they should be in that spot, but haven't proven themselves to be able to take on those roles or even just be that responsible. Because being a leader, managing people, you know, having to deal with the money it's a very big thing, and it's not simple. People, the one thing that I always hated hearing people say, and I sometimes even misunderstood, is that the foremans are just there walking around, which is definitely not the case. Once I became a foreman, it was like I had like 500 things I needed to knock out in one day, and if I didn't do it, though, you know, if I only did 400, then 100 things piled on to the next day. Now I had 600 things I had to knock out in a day. And it was just, if I wasn't a good manager at the beginning, I definitely learned a lot of skills on my way to becoming a decent manager from being a foreman for sure.
Yeah. No, you're right. I remember it was at the foreman level that I realized, because I thought the same thing. I said, well, shoot, I want to be a lead man because they have tacos and donuts in the morning. And I want to be a foreman because they're in the office half the time. They're in meetings. And I want to be a superintendent because all they do is drive around. And then I want to be a project manager because they don't do anything, which all of those things are false. And as I got to the role, it was just, I didn't understand. Like what I was chasing or attracted to was the status of the role. What wasn't obvious was the responsibility and the amount of work that came with that responsibility. And like you said, there's the responsibility of the job, but more importantly, the responsibility of developing the career of the people that are on your team. Like when I finally realized that, I was like, oh, this is serious business, because the decisions I make are going to impact their earning capacity, and that's going to impact their family. And like, that was, whoa, wake up, brother. This is different. And as we progress, that responsibility gets bigger and bigger. Yes, we do get donuts, and yes, we get to spend a little more time in the air condition, but baby, it ain't easier.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was a worker, I'd be done with work. I'd go to the gym, work out for a couple hours, and I'd go play with my band. And I had all this energy. And when I became a foreman, I just remember, even though I wasn't physically working, I was just so mentally fatigued from the stress and planning. And it was just a whole nother level of stress that I wasn't, used to. And I mean, I have a lot of respect for anybody who can run work and run it successfully, because it's not an easy task for sure.
Oh man. Yeah. It's taxing. It's mentally and emotionally taxing. And, emotional, that's like a bad word, right? We don't talk about it, but it's real. Like, have you ever had to fire anybody?
Oh man. Yes. Several times, but the one time that it hit me was the first time I did it. I was actually a lead man, and the foreman brought me over and he said, "Hey man, we're kind of slow, and we're gonna have to get rid of some people that we don't want to get rid of. And this is a hard thing that we have to do, but it's something that you have to learn how to do." He goes, "And here's the first person on the list." And the first person was on the list was my partner that I've been working for a couple of months. Yeah. That was tough. Luckily he got hired on with Joris, making more money, and he's successful with Joris. So maybe it was a good thing that happened, but still having to tell him, "Hey man, we have no more work. We have to let you go," was hard, because all I could think about, what is he going to do for work? How's he going to support his family?
Yes.
Why me? What did I have to be the bearer of bad news? It was, not a good thing.
Not fun. Not fun at all, man. I hate to say it, but I'm just going to be straight up. There were people that, man, I wanted to fire because they just drove me nuts, and they were a detractor on the team. But even them, it was hard. There's an emotional impact because you're affecting somebody's life. So for all you youngsters out there that think you want it and it's going to be smooth sailing, baby, it ain't that easy. And if it is and you enjoy doing it, you shouldn't be in that role. Like, that ain't cool, man. Like, can't be that way. Woo, baby. All right, this is good stuff. So I'm gonna hit you with the hard thought here. Think back, and this, it could be out on the job, it could be in your current position, in your personal life, whatever. Is there a significant learning that you've had as a result of a painful misstep?
Um, the first one that comes to mind is, and it goes back to when I first became a foreman, is Marek was good at seeing my potential and pushing me towards those goals, whether I was ready or not. And I've always felt that I never got to master any of the skills that I was doing. You know, I was a helper, then all of a sudden I was a journeyman. I thought I wasn't ready to be a journeyman, and then all of a sudden I went from being a journeyman to being a lead man. Didn't feel I was ready. When I became a foreman, I felt
All right, y'all. We got a bit of a change here. Yes, I'm breaking up the flow, and that's not going to change. It's going to stay the same. But the L&M family has spoken out, and we've heard you loud and clear. What we are doing is the backstage passes, these clips that you're not going to be able to listen to on this audio version, are now going to be available to everybody on our YouTube channel. So hit up our YouTube channel, subscribe, follow, like, hit all the buttons, and give yourself a little bit of a learnings and missteps marathon and catch up on all the outtakes. We want to hear your comments, and we want to know what you're learning from these things, because all of our guests have shared some pretty intimate missteps and have had some pretty profound learnings. And we hope that you can take that and apply that going forward, and even teach it to your people, the people you care about. So that is going to be the deal going forward. Thank you for supporting us, and back to the show.
and yeah, it's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing. I remember, I don't know, you probably know Robert Chavez with TD Industries?
I don't. The name sounds familiar, but
Tall, flaco, sicon. He's always talking smack.
Everybody from TBI is also cool.
That's everybody. That was good. We were working, man, I can't remember. We're over anyways, we're working on it was a tenant finish out, 5th floor, and I was the foreman on the job. We had a bunch of plumbing, bunch of med gas. And I said, okay, I'm going to rough in this. There was like a little single bathroom. I just had a water closet, a lavatory, and that was it. Like, the waste, domestic water, whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do, that's my work. That way everybody else can be doing all their work. Had a bunch of people there. And then one day Robert comes up to me and he says, hey dude, like, who did that bathroom? I said, me. And he's like, let's go. He said, first of all, it took you 3 weeks. Right? I'm like, no, it didn't. So we walk over there, go check it out. Sure. Yeah. And he was right. It took me 3 weeks and it was a day's worth of work. Maybe 2. 3 weeks to actually finish it. And it looked like garbage. Like, it was just horrible, horrible work, because I would start and then I would get a call and, hey, Jesse, can you come check out this RTU? And hey, Jesse, we got a delivery. And hey, right. You know how it is. Busy. So I was piecemealing it and I just did a miserable job. But what was worse, and I figured it out on that job, was while I was working, like installing, the guys were catching up to me, meaning the material and the information that I gave them, they were running out of it and they were waiting on me because I'm over here jacking around trying to show the skill that I got, right? Which, it wasn't that great on that occasion. And then because they're waiting on me, it's like you said, they got frustrated, they got necio, they started, screwing around and going down to the 1st floor because we're waiting on material now. And that's when it clicked, like, oh man, I can't do that kind of thing, because nobody comes to work to stand around. And if you want to piss off craft workers, have them standing around. Like, that's pointless. And so it took a little bit, but I finally shifted into, okay, my job is to make sure they have the material, information, and equipment to execute the work and support them through that. And if I'm going to do some work, I could do a little bit, but nothing. Like, after that, I would only like do fire caulking or labeling or like something, like if I left it, it wasn't going to impact any other trade. And so if I left it, I would make sure I stayed in front of the guys. And then, I didn't entirely stop pissing people off, but I stopped pissing them off because of the material delays.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. 10-4, man. That is solid information for anybody that is transitioning into field leadership. Started as a framer, graduated maybe prematurely up the ranks to leadman to foreman, had a painful misstep, but you learn from it. Just want to say, like, the important part of that question, it's like the title of the podcast, right? Learnings and missteps, is because there's this thinking out there that you've got to be perfect, you got to be right, you got to be ready. But man, most of the wisdom that I have comes from missteps.
Yep.
Right? Like the missteps are the things that, man, I don't forget that. Now, there are some that I've done 5 or 6 times. It took, I needed to practice, I guess. But for the most part, it is those missteps, making those mistakes, not knowing the answer and figuring out how to utilize my resources that added the knowledge and the wisdom for me to serve to the degree that I'm serving now. And everybody has them. Like, there hasn't been a single person that I've asked about a significant learning as a result of a painful misstep that they didn't have an answer. Most of the time they're like, oh man, I got a bunch of them, and they'll pick one, right? And so it's just, let's get real about it because we're human. We're all human. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being human. So we're going to slide into home with the finale question, which is, what footprint do you intend to leave on the world?
Wow, that's a very loaded question. Honestly, I just want to teach people to learn from my mistakes. The biggest lesson that I think I could give anybody, whether they're just starting their career or midway in any position in any spot, is that not to be afraid to make mistakes, because everybody who is successful or has succeeded has probably made thousands of mistakes before they've had their one win. So if one thing is to just teach people not to be afraid of making mistakes, and to really just go out there and do your thing, and don't be afraid.
You got any people you want to give a shout out to? You remember back in the day, KTFM, they had like shout out night, dedication.
The cliches, my family and friends, I wouldn't be here or gone as far in my career without them. And the people who looked out for me in my process, I've had foremen who were really hard, but without them, I wouldn't have learned the lessons or gotten to be successful as I am without their hardness. My superintendent, who, I don't know if you've ever met my superintendent, but he's a scary looking dude, scary Viking looking dude. But, he's actually, he really cares about his people. And I'm thankful that I have a role model like him. And even his daughter, Stacy, who's been looking out for me since I was 19 years old. I mean, at least when it comes to my career and the company that I work for, I am thankful that that I've worked for them. And shout outs to Marek and their great employees.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Marek, Stacy's amazing. She's breathed life. She's breathed life into me. She's doing that with you. She's doing that with so many people. Marek Brothers does stand out in my head for their workforce development, their investment in workforce development. Like, I don't know any other trade specialty contractors out there that are making the type of investment that y'all are making, partnering with schools in Houston. Y'all are doing the high school internships. You're doing construction career day. Like, there's so many things that y'all are doing that, in my head, at least in the local market, y'all are leading the industry in terms of doing it right. And so sometimes that makes me feel a little guilty for, busting the sheetrock and cutting the scrubs back in the day,
That
driving
was
my
you.
lift into the
No, I
corner.
know. That was you. No, I'm all right. I'm not gonna forget that.
I said, I'll take it off and put it back on. I know what I'm doing. And then you could tell, like, dude, a plumber did that.
That was Gabriel. Like I said, it was a short and sweet interview, action-packed, lots of information. I hope you guys took notes. And actually, I want to challenge you, if you're out there and you've got a workforce in the trades and you're looking for tips and tricks on how to expand your workforce and how to recruit the next generation of our industry, you need to hit up Marek Brothers or Sabra Phillips, Stacy Gunderson, Mr. Gabriel Garcia. They've got a lot of stuff going on. They've figured a whole bunch of things out, and I know that they're happy to share with you. And now it is time for the L&M family shout out. This shout out is to Mr. Armando Tunales. Armando says, congratulations. Thanks for your passion and leadership. Looking forward to seeing where this path will take you. And that's kind of a selfish plug there. That is in reference to the most recent change I've made in my life, which is going full-time entrepreneur, social media mogul, consultant, coach, all of the above. Armando, appreciate you, my man. I've seen all your posts out there on LinkedIn, all the learning that you're doing, all the knowledge that you're bringing to your crew up there in the DFW area. To the rest of you folks, love you very much. Keep bringing the love, because all we got is love for you. Man, you are one dedicated listener, sticking with us all the way through to the very, very end. Please know that this podcast dies without you, and we invite you to share how the episode's impacting you, along with your thoughts, questions, and suggestions. You've been gracious with your time, so we added social media links in the show notes to make it super easy for you to connect with us. Be kind to yourself, stay cool, and we'll talk at you next time.